Welcome to Afterthoughts. This is our Recommend or Refute episode where we're going to go around the table and each talk about a movie that we watch separately and whether we would recommend or refute it. I am your host, Michael Dixon. With me, as always, the normal crew, Ryan King. What's up?
Surviving.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's good to know.
What do
You're
you
still
mean?
Alive.
I put myself through it again. I don't know why.
Yeah, you did.
Every October, you pull this shit.
We both
Ryan.
pull
Every
this
October
shit
and
every
Christmas,
October.
I hurt myself.
Yeah.
When is Mental Health Awareness Day and/or month?
Yeah.
You don't have to watch every franchise movie that's ever existed, Ryan. There's no rule that says that you have to do that.
And if you feel compelled to, there's a helpline you can call.
I've honestly knocked out most of them. I will say I glanced at Witchcraft, which has like fucking 30 official movies or some shit.
I don't even know what that is.
It's some like, it's honestly like softcore porn.
Like a Pure Flicks?
Or-
Oh.
Yeah,
softcore
yeah.
Pure Flicks.
Yeah.
Which means they touch ankles.
Oh.
Oh, hey.
And the ankle collar over there is John Garcia.
That's right. I'm bringing the schlock, baby. As part of my Schlocktober, what else could I bring? You know,
As we would expect.
it's like Santa showing up with hands that are like, empty. They just have I bring the coal. I'm the other, what is it, Krampus? I'm
Krampus, yeah.
I'm the Krampus of October. The
Nice.
Krampus, I suppose. But
You're the trick.
I'm excited
the
to.
treat.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm excited to talk about this schlock that Dixon and I both have seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be
All right, Ryan, why don't you kick us off?
Okay. All right. We mentioned Full Moon, and honestly, Full Moon made its money from the Puppet Master franchise. What money it did make, because it burned through it and fucking crashed and burned several times.
With Primevals.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. I think the last few years probably I've talked about like horror franchises that just have way too many sequels, and kind of being interested to go through some of these that I'd only watched like one or two of, and I kind of hit the big ones, and then some middle-ish ones, and now I'm down to the fucking bottom of the barrel. I will say I rewatched Children of the Corn, pass, and I'm sure those subsequent Children of the Corn are terrible. And I don't even understand how that one got sequels.
Grandchildren of the Corn.
Children of the
Yeah.
Agriculture.
For some reason, I kept being drawn towards Puppet Master, like it's come up a few times, and
Well,
I
that
keep
reason
kind
was
of
me. I
glancing
kept
at
pushing you towards
it. Yeah, you kept pushing me at it. There are 15 Puppet Master movies at this
That's
point.
too many.
One is a reboot, and two are like side one-off stories or something. I don't even know how to fucking
Like in the
explain
Puppet
it.
Master universe, but not direct sequels type
Yeah.
of things.
Is that
Well,
like Bride of
all
Puppet
right.
Master?
I'll preface. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give one sentence, my best not to be a run-on sentence, explanation of each Puppet Master movie.
Okay.
Then I'll give a little bit of like, is it worth watching or not? And I'll talk a little bit about the puppet work, which is the only fucking reason to watch this abysmal shit.
Could you do one word?
No, I can't
Oh,
even.
okay,
I got to
well,
get it out of
fuck.
me. I got to get it out of me.
Ryan,
These-
maybe
so-
before you go on this rant, I have never seen Puppet Master. I don't know what the fuck it is. For
Yeah, I'll
our
give you
other
the top.
listeners who are in that same boat, can you give like a brief overview of what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Who are our players?
I'll kind of
good
set
guys,
us up.
bad
I'll set
guys?
us up. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who's good and who's bad.
Oh,
I'll set us up. Okay.
Is Kermit the Frog in this?
No. Actually, yeah. The puppets are well designed. They all look
All right. Stay on
kinda
focus.
cool.
What's it
Yeah.
about?
all right. Well, I will say, okay, each Puppet Master movie is made by someone as if they had never watched a Puppet Master movie.
Oh, so Dixon, you don't have
Nice.
to worry about which one you watch.
Yeah. I have never had continuity more out the window than this franchise, and that's saying something having watched all the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
That in fact, crazily enough, halfway through they make a movie to try to tie it all together, and it doesn't help. And the motivations of people fucking constantly change, and it's completely bizarre. And that's where I'm like, it just every single one, it's as if it had nothing to do with the previous Puppet Master movies, except some of the puppets are reoccurring.
Okay.
Even they can't even keep consistent what puppets they are or exactly what they look like.
Fair enough. It's a fever dream of a franchise.
It is a fever dream of it. These movies are expert at drawing out their runtime to be just long enough by reusing footage, just fucking drawing out scenes for way too long, fucking talking heads nonsense. Like, you've seen it all, they do it all. But at the same time, they all
making sense.
Yeah, they almost all have a fucking abrupt ending. Like, they end in the middle of someone's sentence, or just have like somebody dies and then they just cut to like, okay, well, it's good seeing you, bye. And then the movie ends. Like, it fucking makes no sense how they end these. Just, they want to get out, they're done. The
What
premise
do they follow?
The basic premise is that sometime in the past, the years change. There was a guy who made some puppets that are actually like sentient puppets that kill people. Originally, they just kind of kill people and they're evil, but by like the fourth movie on, they're like good puppets fighting other things, mostly Nazis. Question mark?
Wait, Nazi puppets or Nazi humans?
Both.
Yes.
Is there a puppet Hitler?
No.
Oh,
There's like a puppet Elsa the She-Wolf, I guess.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah,
why not?
there's that in one of them. They remember they can do sexy Nazis.
So they become like the Gorgonites from Toy Soldiers or Small Soldiers.
Gorgon shit, pure Gorgon shit.
Yeah, yes. Yes. I mean, that's, I'll just kind of go through each one.
In a house of mysteries.
This hotel seems to have quite a history, Mrs. Gallagher.
Who are you people?
A research team with special powers.
Oh my God.
She's experiencing the past.
Because we are all joined by our thoughts.
Has uncovered an ancient secret.
I have something I want to show you.
Metaphysically speaking, I killed myself.
But they are playing with an evil force.
What would you do with the power?
You can't save her, Alex.
They have given life to a deadly power.
We're all in danger.
And now a box of little toys
I think someone's in the room, Frank.
has become a gang of little terrors. Pinhead, Blade, Ms. Leach, Jester, and Tunneler. Irene Miracle, Paul LeMat, Barbara Crampton, and William Hickey as the Puppet Master.
So the first movie was one of the first like direct to VHS movies, and that kind of tells you like what level we're working with. This is absolutely something that someone was like, "Hey, we could put this together. We could fill fucking shelves on Blockbuster because they need to fill shelf space with new shit.
Yeah,
we'll make cool posters." You know, a lot of these, they made a poster before they ever fucking made the movie and then had a back end to explaining why the poster made sense.
Fucking brilliant.
And then they just cracked out shit. Somehow they sold, somehow puppet toys sold, so it just kind of has continued over the years for no reason. Yeah.
Fuck. They
Wow.
commercialized.
Were they like in Happy Meals and shit like that?
I don't think so, but
That would be amazing if they try to actually market it to children.
Yeah.
man. Hey
Yes,
man, they market so much else.
Yeah.
It's
RoboCop.
amazing. The first movie, it appears that the guy that makes the puppets is like a nice old man, but he makes puppets with fucking like knives for hands and drills for heads, and like the puppets are designed to kill.
Gave you a gun, Pinocchio, so
Yeah,
that you
yes.
could learn how to be a man.
The later movies, I guess, sort of back into making it okay that he did that.
Okay.
But yeah, it starts off. All right, so our first movie starts off this nice old man, Andre Toulouse. Toulouse. I don't know if I can even say his name
Is
correctly
that
at
like
this
a
point.
Canadian currency?
You're beyond
Yeah.
one sentence.
I'm already dead. So this nice old man, he shoots himself in 1939 when Nazis are coming for his living puppets, which he hides in a California hotel. Years later, a psychic who's found them in the hotel and realizes that an immortal secret that Tulun found from Egyptians will allow him to live forever. He traps all his psychic friends in the hotel. The puppets kill them one by one until the puppets realize that he's actually evil and they kill him.
Okay. This is more than a paragraph, like a run-on paragraph.
That's like 2 paragraphs. Are you
There's
saying
only
that
like
there were
one and in
Nazis in California in 1939?
Yeah,
No.
I think these movies are a little lost on when World War II happened and when
where the
Americans
Nazis
were in
were?
the war.
We didn't accept Nazis freely into this country until at least 1945 when we let them run our nuclear program.
Right, when they came in and did the nuclear program.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
And craft puppets.
They're sneaking in to get this guy because he ran away from Nazi Germany.
When you said that, all I thought was they're sneaking in, these Nazis,
Yes.
and we're okay with it.
Yes, yeah.
They're running over our borders.
All right. Anyways, continue.
But when did they even when did the Nazis even invade something like that?
39,
also
they
really
invaded
bugged me.
Poland.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this is like right as they're invading Poland.
They
they're
already
also
got into
needing
California.
these puppets. Well, it's just like
knows?
2 Nazis, like 2 Nazis.
Only
No.
2
They-
Nazis. Okay.
Yeah, they send 2 Nazis to get this guy, and
Abbott
like,
und
they
Costello.
don't- they don't get him because he shoots himself and he hides
Yeah.
the puppets in the wall. I
Frankly,
will say,
they're
okay,
not sending their best.
Yeah.
Nazi.
No, but the first movie has stop motion and puppet work that's actually inventive. The kills are kind of inventive. The puppets just like are ADR'd with like regular human sounds, which is almost kind of comical. Because they just like run around and like and like laugh like a regular human. You would think like puppets would have like tiny voices, right? Isn't that what movies traditionally do?
Yeah. or
It's
nothing.
yeah, it almost makes it funny. At one point, someone pops the head off of one of them, and it makes exactly the sound you think it would make, where it's like, like just a comical pop. It makes me laugh out loud. It was fucking great. One of the puppets is honestly just like it has human hands. Is this teeny tiny head?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's called Pinhead. He has a teeny tiny head, and then he has just like human-sized arms and hands.
Pinhead already belongs
And
to
they're
another
actually
property.
human hands. You can just tell that the puppeteer is just like fucking sticking his hands like the Swedish chef through the puppet to like strangle someone or whatever, or drag them through the hallway, question mark.
Amazing.
Our puppets that are created, I mentioned there's one with a knife hand. He's in like everything. He's the one that looks the best.
Yeah.
Our Pinhead, he's in pretty much all of them. A dude with a drill for a head called Tunneler, who's in almost all of them. And a jester who has like 3 parts to his face that spin around and make new faces, kind of like that guy from Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's neat.
And then Leech Woman, who is a woman puppet that spits up and leeches. I don't know where they come from. And she has fucking multiple leeches she can spit up. And in a really fucking cool scene, she slowly, because they have to draw out the runtime, barfs up multiple leeches onto a dude who's tied to a bed and like blindfolded, and makes like a horrible, like the sound that actually spitting up a leech would
It's
sound
just like,
like.
a vomiting.
Yeah, yes, it's awful. So like
That
actually
seems sexist to me.
Yeah. Something about it seems off.
it's actually like fucking unsettling. Like the first movie is kind of like disturbing and unsettling, and the puppet work and the way they kill people is like kind of fucked up. Also, the psychics 100% real psychics, like in multiple ways. They predict shit, they see visions.
They
like
have real powers.
This universe is just
They're not
100%
frauds.
psychics have real powers, which I guess, there's some secret Egyptians have to make living puppets.
Sure,
So,
fuck it. We're
okay.
here.
Yeah, I guess we're just
not?
there. Let's just get a puppet. Let's just get through this.
Let's go.
Puppet Master 2.
Oh my God.
Trying to
we're only on the
document
second one.
Yeah, trying to document paranormal. A group of people go to this hotel and are one by one attacked by the puppets who need human brain tissue to stay alive, a point never mentioned before.
Zombies?
After the puppets have recently brought back Tulum to life, who walks around dressed as the Invisible Man, but no one fucking notices. I mean, he's got bandages all over his face and everything. He believes one of the girls is his wife, who he's going to try to make immortal with the brain tissue goo he creates. And the puppets realize they're not going to even give him any goo, so they kill him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you know what a sentence is?
Yes. Yeah. These are. I tried. There's like one. There's one and connector in here.
Did
More-
you,
he
did
said
you
he
pass
lied. That's what he
middle
said.
school English? Did
I said
you-
almost not quite run-on sentences.
He's backpedaling.
They're full-on paragraphs.
We have a
dissertations.
We have a former president who might be our next president who has said sentences way worse than these are coherent sentences.
Well, he turned the town hall into 40 minutes of music.
Frankly, that's a very low bar, folks. There are a lot of people who say a lot better sentences than me, believe me.
I know the puppet master. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Puppet work in this one is all right. Not as good as the last one, though they do introduce that apparently he made a puppet that looks like a Nazi stormtrooper who has bullet teeth and shoots flames out of his mouth.
Dude, that sounds rad, except for the Nazi part. The rest of it sounds really cool.
Yeah. We almost never see him again. I don't understand how he showed up in this movie and then like vanishes for a while later. Again, like I said, the continuity.
None.
Who fucking cares? Yeah.
I'm gonna stop commenting so Ryan will move quicker through these.
Come on, Ryan.
This is the second of third movie that has sex psychics that I never understood how that worked.
Oh.
Yes, yeah. Our third movie, Puppet Master 3: Talon's Revenge. In 1941, 2 years after he killed himself, he's running a puppet show in Berlin where his satire of Hitler with a Hitler puppet upsets Nazis who learn his puppets are alive, thus want them because their zombie project isn't working, and they shoot Talon's wife, so he puts her soul into a puppet and fills it with leeches, which is where the leech woman comes from.
Oh, wow, I can't believe they explained that.
And we learn that all the puppets have Jews' souls that were friends of his.
Wow.
And then he kills all the Nazis.
He's like the Oscar Schindler of puppets.
I asked you 5 minutes ago if there was a Hitler puppet, and you said no. And then you just told me there was a Hitler puppet, Ryan.
There was a Hitler, but he wasn't a living Hitler puppet.
Yeah, it doesn't
He wasn't
count.
a living Hitler puppet. He was like a regular Hitler puppet.
Oh.
It's just a regular one.
Yeah.
It might have been mistaken for a Charlie Chaplin if you brought it to the U.S.
Yes.
Put a little hat on it, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
He also makes this 6-armed puppet that shoots 6 guns. That's like his American puppet that shoots the Hitler puppet. And then he puts, I don't know, fucking somebody's soul in there. I'm so lost at this point. Yeah. The torch one never fucking shows up. The 6-shooter now starts to show up in other movies, even though he never fucking showed up in the previous 2. Again, like who fucking cares? Who knows? And later, it's unclear if souls need to be in these things at all. The goo comes and goes, brain tissue comes and goes. Like I have no idea how these puppets actually work. There's always some vague tie back to an Egyptian, usually an Egyptian demon, which takes us into number 4, the demon.
Thank God we're getting through it.
The demon whose power is behind the living puppets wants everyone that knows the secret dead, so he sends demon puppets to kill 2 research scientists who are creating AI, which apparently also uses the demon's secrets to get sentient, but he fails to kill the 3rd scientist who's staying at the inn that the former Toulon hid the puppets at, and he found the puppets and learns they're sentient through playing laser tag with them.
They're still at the Hotel California, but they're playing laser tag?
They're playing laser tag.
Okay.
And then he gets the puppets to kill the demon puppets, and they make a new puppet that can remove its head and put on other heads that fire lasers.
Great. So good.
John, do we have the shot clock sound on the board?
We don't have it on there, unfortunately. It's just "Do not forsake me, whom I don't."
Yes. No. Yeah. I'll try.
A little high noon here.
I'll try to pick up the pace. Our 6-armed guy is back for some reason, and Decapitron is the name of our new
DiCaprio.
Yeah. Also, at this point, I realized that everyone knows the names of these puppets through the years. I have no fucking clue because in the first and second movie, one time each, one puppet says something, but then they forget how to talk and it never comes back up again. One of the puppets fucking yells, "Motherfucker," as he's thrown against a wall in the first movie, and it's fucking hilarious. But that's like it. As far as and that doesn't appear they write or read or anything else. Puppet Master 5, the final chapter, because you got to name something in your horror franchise that. This one has like a vague continuity to the last one, and actually is one of the few things where actors return. The demon is upset that his puppets died, so he makes another puppet and puts his own essence in it to kill the kid from the last movie, who's also being chased by the head AI director at his company who wants the puppets. So the puppets kill the director and his henchmen, who honestly aren't evil.
I feel like this isn't the last one.
And then uses Decapitron to kill the demon for good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm getting through these faster.
I'm glad to hear.
6.
For good.
Torch is back for some reason now.
Okay, cool.
But we don't see him for another fucking 7 movies again.
Sure.
Curse of the Puppet Master. A guy, this one's might be the worst. By the way.
Surprising.
The last 2, we kind of stopped on the stop motion. It kind of started to fall apart and then had puppetry, and the puppetry kind of fell apart. So I can, those were, though I was getting lost. I was dying.
Is this just like Team America? This one's Team America where they just throw puppets at each
Yeah,
other?
eventually the puppets just kind of
Fuck
bump
you.
into each other. Yeah, there's definitely some puppet fighting that's pretty fucking horrible. And the killing kind of happens off camera. And
okay,
it gets worse and worse.
Their heart's
Curse
not
of
in
the-
it anymore.
Yeah, Curse of the Puppet Master. Some guy bought puppets at the garage sale, and he hires Simple Jack to carve a new living puppet at his home, where Simple Jack falls in love with his daughter, who is protected by the puppets who kill her attempted rapists.
Racist and rapists.
And
They were trying to be racist, but they couldn't figure it out.
yeah. Though the puppets kill 2 cops for no reason as well.
Okay,
and she
nice.
finds out
Good.
that her dad's former helper was partially made into a living puppet. But going to save Simple Jack's life, who she realizes is going to be made into a puppet, she's too late. And now
He sees her in her head movies.
the fully made living puppet he had carved from wood, which is a metal tank,
Okay.
he is now bodied, and he kills her dad. And by the way, that's it. He kills the dad, and the fucking movie just is done.
Good.
7.
Yeah, that one might be the worst, and had made no fucking sense or had much to do with anything else. Also, all the
good
puppets
luck
in that one,
editing this. Mm-hmm.
archival footage. It's all archival footage from the previous movies.
What?
They didn't even.
Oh,
yeah,
incredible.
Clip show.
they create two new puppets. This fucking tank puppet, again, not relevant ever again, and
Tetsuo
the
the
half
Iron
man, half puppet of the former guy, which actually looks fucking awesome. So they could have done good work,
But they didn't.
But they didn't. Retro Puppet Master. This is the Greg Sestero one.
Oh,
by
Greg
the way.
Sestero's in this.
Yes.
Room? Mark?
He talks about this in Disaster Artist, that he went
Yeah.
and worked on this movie
Was
because
this
they
before
shot
or
this one.
after The Room?
This was before The Room.
This is before The Room.
Check it out.
Mm.
They shot this one on location in Bucharest or something.
Bavarian?
I will say
I don't know.
almost all of these are in 1 or 2 locations, except for the third one
Of course.
that was shot on the Universal backlot, and this one that was in Bucharest. So the production value's up, but the ADR is down. This movie's fucking audio
folks,
is
you're
weird.
like Jim Kramer. The ADR is down, folks. You don't want to
Down, hard
invest in
down.
that.
Don't invest. It's it was ADR'd by other lazy people afterwards that are
No.
bored of the lines, and it gives this spaghetti western feel. And
Ooh.
Greg Sestero's doing a fucking awful
Did Ennio
accent.
Morricone score it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was,
this
it
one
was
is
Ennio Morricone.
yeah.
That's good.
A-N-Y.
This one
Yeah,
is
that's right.
yeah, honestly, so close to so bad it's good, but it doesn't.
It
get
just
there.
misses that.
It's
that
so
bar,
close, but it
folks.
just misses the mark, and that's because it's boring for the first half of the movie.
Oh, it's
So
a shame.
a 3,000-year-old wizard is running from the servants of the demon, who are mummies, going to Paris, where he meets Toulon at a puppet show and ends up teaching him the secret after
This is
the mummies
all
hire
AI
2
generated.
thugs. The mummies hire 2 thugs to beat him to death. And after some of Toulon's friends are killed, he puts their souls into puppets. These aren't the Jewish people that were in the puppet souls in the previous movie, who help him kill the mummies. And he puts his assistant into Dr. Death. This is important later. That
Okay,
his
yeah,
assistant
sure.
died and is in Dr. Death.
is-
There's some puppets that are retro versions of his puppets, which contradicts previous movies and how he made the puppets.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
And we haven't done away with the filibuster. Everybody out there?
Yes,
You haven't
almost.
thought about
Yes,
that?
this is what I could be doing. This would be great if I was doing this on the floor of
Yeah,
the Senate.
please. I would love to hear fucking Ted Cruz talk about all of the
The
different
Puppet Master
Masters.
movies.
God.
Better than
Which
green
takes
eggs
us
and
to
ham.
Puppet Masters : the Legacy of Puppet Master. I don't fucking remember.
This better be the last one.
Not quite, but this one we can skip through quickly because it's almost all archival footage of the previous movies. It tries to tie all the movies together to make sense, and it fails to do that. It just is one guy like flashing back, explaining all the previous movies and how they're connected.
Grandpa sitting in a chair
even though
with
it makes no
whiskey?
sense. We find
Tell
out
you
that
about the war.
yeah, we find out that this is the assistant kid from part 3 that
good.
died in Retro Puppet Master, the last fucking movie we watched. He's still alive, and then the puppets kill him.
Okay.
I don't exactly know why.
Well, good.
Puppet
glad he's
Master
dead.
versus Demonic Toys, which is a crossover with another Full Moon franchise that I couldn't be bothered to go
Oh.
watch. This one was straight to Sci-Fi, so we've gotten that below.
Oh, Dixon, this is your wheelhouse.
SYFI?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
this one's-
SYFY? Yeah.
Dixon, you love these movies.
Yeah, this one stars Corey Feldman, who they put some like
they
put some like silver spray paint in his hair, so he's supposed to be an old man.
Hell yeah, he is.
He's the great grandnephew of Toulon, and he bought the puppets at an auction. I don't understand how these puppets keep getting auctioned.
That just doesn't matter.
He wants to bring them back alive and has to use Toulon bloodline for it, something that was never mentioned before and will never be mentioned again.
Is that like
a
an
toy
as-seen on TV
company?
thing?
Yeah, but a toy company run by a woman whose dad sold his soul to make living puppets because she Veruca assaulted him into doing it. Wants to take over the world after she's made a deal with the demon to make demon toys wake up under kids' Christmas trees. And the demon wants to end Toulon's life, but she wants puppets that are independent and will listen to her.
Okay.
And we find out that Toulon's puppets are that way because Toulon's dad sold his soul to the devil, but his soul ended up in a tree that the puppets are made out of. So anyway, the puppets beat all the demon toys.
Oh, okay. Don't care how. I want it now. Got it.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
again,
Where are we at? you're just Dixon's refraining.
the
now.
numbers.
I was like, I should ask. No,
Counselor, I
need
yield
to
the
keep
time.
moving.
I yield the floor.
Yeah, keep moving.
I think 8 was the next one. Okay, so now we can kind of jump through 3 movies altogether. Really.
Thank
So here's the
God.
only semblance of like
Warp
carryover
speed.
plot we have is we realize now we're just going to make Nazi exploitation.
Okay.
Like the next 3 movies
Burn,
just
you
straight up.
Nazi bastards.
Yeah. We jump back to World War II. It explicitly says 1939. We see Toulon shoot himself again. And a kid who is building chairs at that hotel finds the puppets right afterwards and sees the Nazis running out of the room.
Okay.
And goes to show his girlfriend the puppets, but realizes the new coworker she has is one of the Nazis he saw. And they're planning to blow up a plant that's part of the Manhattan Project, which doesn't start for another 3 years, mind you.
Cool.
And he stops. The Nazis
Sick.
kill his family, and then he goes and kills all of them. He puts his brother's soul into a ninja puppet that we never saw before and we never see again.
Sick. Amazing. Just spectacular continuity for this.
Yes, Puppet Master X, Axis Rising. These are all Axis. We're really into the Germans at this point. The kid from the last movie, he's someone else. That's some other actor. He wants to get one of the puppets back from the Nazis who are using it to try to make zombies, and they end up making their own Nazi puppets, which I'll say what those are in a moment.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
Yeah, the army wants to give this kid an award for killing Nazis in the last movie,
General
but the Nazi
MacArthur,
puppets,
how generous.
yeah, the Nazi puppets show up and then they kill the Nazis, but they don't kill the Nazi puppets. The Nazi puppets are like Ilsa the she-wolf puppet that shoots guns from her boobs.
Sure. Why not?
Werewolf
I'm
and like
You've
a werewolf
woken me
and
up
like
now.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Breast guns.
Yeah, a werewolf that's like in a Nazi uniform, tank, and
Isn't a werewolf
the
in a
most-
Nazi uniform a Tarantino thing from Grindhouse?
yeah,
Anyways,
the most racist Japanese puppet
don't go
possible.
on.
Mind you, the Japanese made this puppet, so I guess within the movie's world, it's okay.
Like the
It also
More or
constantly
less racist than the Kim Jong-il puppet from Team America.
almost the same.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Now I
about
got a
this,
good
pretty much
idea.
the same. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. Yeah, it constantly mumbles Japanese, which proves these puppets could talk. They just don't.
Good. I don't want more dialogue in this.
These movies are convinced that a leech in your throat instantly kills you.
I mean, you do
Because
choke.
multiple times Leech Woman like barfs a leech into someone's throat and they instantly die and spit
You
up
can
blood.
call it what it is, Ryan.
I don't
She
think that's how
throats
that
somebody.
works.
It's fine.
Yeah, she throats them. That was 10. That was Puppet Master X Axis Rising.
Good, we're getting close.
Puppet Master Axis Termination. They shoot the kid and his girlfriend from the previous 2 movies in the first 30 seconds of this movie, and I fucking laughed so hard. That's
that seems like the funniest shit.
That's the funniest shit to do when you're trying to keep continuity between these 3 movies, and in the second movie you were happy recasting them, and they're recast again in this movie, but then you just fucking unceremoniously kill them off.
That's like killing
right
the family
away.
of National Lampoons every time there's a new vacation.
Yes. The U.S. Army takes the puppets to use to stop these psychic Nazis.
Okay.
And the puppets kill the psychic Nazis and the Nazi puppets from the last movie.
Yeah.
We're kind of downhill at this point.
Yeah.
12.
Puppet
We'll cut around this.
Puppet Master, the Littlest Reich.
The Littlest
still on
Reich. God,
yeah.
they made it a Charlie
I'm telling
Brown
you, we
film?
get into Nazis. This one was produced by Fangoria and is technically a reboot. And if you're gonna see a Puppet Master movie, Puppet Master 1 is like fun and has good puppet animation. And amazingly, Axis Termination, they finally figured out they could use digital work to make the puppets, like digital animation, and that's the first time the puppets looked good again since fucking the second movie. The Littlest Reich, I actually had a fucking blast. This movie is so stupid and has nothing to do with anything else. Because Toulon was an evil Nazi who escaped to America and uses the puppets to commit hate crime murders on anyone of color, Jewish people, whatever. He hates them all, apparently. It stars Lieutenant Dangle from Reno 911.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lieutenant Dan. I was so excited for Gary Sinise.
No, fucking Lieutenant Dangle, and it's hilarious.
You got new puppets, Lieutenant Dan. They're made out of titanium forest. It's the same thing the space station's made out of.
Oh, dear God.
He goes to this hotel where they talk about Toulon a whole bunch to try to win all the puppets in an auction. Yeah, but the puppets come to life and murder like everyone in the hotel, and it's really fucking awesome and really like gruesome, awesome murders.
Okay.
And then Lieutenant Dangle crashes his car into Toulon's tomb, which ends the puppet but makes a zombie Toulon who wanders off. Most of these movies I failed to mention set up a sequel that never fucking happens.
You didn't fail to mention. You mentioned continuity.
The sequel fucking happens. Obviously, the sequels fucking happen.
We're living it right now. We're living it right now.
In the second one, he makes these really fucking horrible, like human-like versions of himself, and they're actually like terrifying. They're awesome. So now we have 2 movies that are just like spin-offs about a single puppet.
Okay.
I guess because
which
Blade:
movie
The Iron Cross.
13.
14. We're almost done.
Yeah, please.
We're almost
God.
out.
Sweet release.
An evil Nazi in 1945 shows up, so a psychic wakes up the Blade puppet who kills a bunch of Nazis.
I wish it was Blade, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
Blade.
Wesley Snipes. But he's sledgehammered to bits, but his psychic energy rebirths him inside a Nazi's stomach, and he bursts out like chest burster style from that Nazi.
Nope.
Which is the only good thing in this
like it.
movie. This movie was honestly really terrible. And then he shuts down their death ray that they were building.
That Nazi's name was Ripley.
Yeah.
Just some shitty.
After that reboot, The Littlest Reich was actually kind of enjoyable. This was a real fucking letdown. And the last movie that came out in 2022.
Oh my God.
Thank God.
Puppet Master Dr. Death, which is a spinoff of a puppet we've seen one fucking time.
Okay.
Way back in Puppet Master 3.
Oh, good. I'm glad we know.
Who he stuck his assistant's soul in, who his assistant was alive later, but whatever. Apparently, Dr. Death has been locked in a case this whole time at an old folks' home. He's awoken after the old person that owns him dies. So he runs around and just fucking kills old people in the old folks' home for the whole movie.
This sounds great. I love it.
Yeah, they need help.
This one's amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Sometimes he climbs into their dead bodies, one of which is like he skinned them alive, and he walks around in a skinned alive body, like puppeting them, killing other old people.
Dude,
and then one nurse there reveals that she's actually the great-great-granddaughter of the assistant, and since Dr. Death has the assistant's soul, they're like happy together and leave.
You don't have to do that movie. It's fine.
Yeah, that I don't think it will ever happen. Based on everything I've learned from this movie, that movie's never happening. Neither is the zombie of Toulon's going anywhere or anything. It doesn't fucking matter. Because like I said, no one watched the previous Puppet Master movies. They just make up a fucking new movie every time. He's died in 39. He died in 45. It doesn't fucking matter. He's evil. He's not evil. The puppets are evil. They're not evil.
Doesn't fucking matter. None of it matters. I'm so glad we would only have to deal with Puppet Master 16 next year if Ryan watches it.
Ryan, are there any of these 15 movies that you would recommend?
Sounds like 1, 2, 3, and then this fucking last one.
Two's not worth it either.
1,
I would
3,
say
and that last one.
I would say 1, 3, The Littlest Reich, and maybe Dr. Death.
Okay.
Though I will say 1 for the puppet work. 3 I only recommend because it's the only one with a semblance of a plot or themes or acting or fucking anything.
Surprising.
But it's still not a good movie. And the puppet work isn't as good as previous ones, but it still has some puppet work and it still has some stop motion. The Little Reich's honestly like fucking funny and has funny lines and funny deaths and gruesome shit because Fangoria is on it, not fucking Blue Moon.
So 4 out of 15. So we're batting 267 here.
Terrible. Terrible.
Pretty
Great
good
for a baseball player,
odds for
but
this.
terrible for everything else.
I don't think that's not that good for a baseball player.
It's okay for a baseball. It's all right.
It's not terrible.
If he's like a good, if he's a good fielder,
sure, yeah,
you're good with that. Yeah,
right, yeah. Or if he's a pitcher, then you got yourself a bonus.
That's actually
right
that's
there.
great. Yeah,
yeah. Not that we have pitchers that bat anymore, but.
And you wanted to put this in the middle of the episode, Dixon? You wanted to put this in the middle.
I was trying to not alienate everyone.
It's good. It's out
right
of my
it's out of my
system.
Look, we could put a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. It's fine.
I almost fell asleep several times.
I saw you yawning.
Rants. Yes.
You should go back and pull the clock out and see if it's more or less than the Air Bud. And I didn't even get. There are more Air Bud sequels than.
Well, I will say.
This, and I didn't watch all the
I
Air Bud
montaged
sequels.
your Airbuds and.
No, you montaged the ape.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going
I
to
listened,
montage
John,
any
and
of
it was
this.
fucking hilarious.
Well, everybody, we'll see how we montage this shit in the aftermath. Whew. All right, 15 Puppet Masters, and thank God there's not a 16th. Jesus.
I don't think I'll watch it if it
jinx us,
comes
John.
out.
Don't.
Yeah, I don't think I'll watch it if it comes out. I'm done.
Schlocktober 2025 is going to have a Puppet Master sequel in
Puppet
it.
Master, and Frankenstein.
Oh, God.
That's how tasteless it'll go.
And we all know, like, 365 days from now, I'll have forgotten, and I'll fucking watch some other
He'll fall into a schlock
disturbing
hole.
number of fucking Halloween movies.
See, but at least I watch different schlock, Dixon. I'm just throwing it out there.
John, what schlock did you watch this week?
Of course, if you've been keeping up with my Letterboxd, you know that I've watched such schlock fantastic things as In the Claws of the CIA, which is a John Liu film, or maybe
John
Blades. Woo? No, not John Woo. John Liu, New York Ninja himself, or Blades, which is a Jaws knockoff taking place on a New Jersey golf club course. Like, hey, what more could you ask for? Or Sons of Steel, the Australian musical that's anti-war in a weird way. There's a whole lot that I've been watching that's schlock. None of it has been on. It's all been on my list. The one thing I want to talk about that hasn't been on my list that is clearly schlock. And if you disagree with me, I beg you, go ahead, reply on my review on Letterboxd. I can give my username. It's John Juan. Good luck finding it,
All
folks.
the ways you can spell John.
That's exactly what it is. No, that's not what it is.
Is the question mark part of it?
That's my
No.
that's not it. No, my Letterboxd name is Loose Cannon Cop. That's Canon. That's canon, as in the canon Dixon hates. Not the canon as in Dirty Harry Cannon. There you go.
Most powerful letterbox account in the world.
So I've watched a lot of schlock, and the one schlock that isn't on my list that I watched because it's in theaters, baby. You gotta go see it when it's in theaters. Is Francis Ford Coppola's latest movie, his greatest movie, in terms of how much money he has spent and how much time he's spent on it. Let's just qualify that.
Megalopolis, folks.
Go. Now.
From visionary writer and director Francis Ford Coppola comes an event nothing can prepare you for.
Imagine today's society as a branch of civilization about to reach a dead end. Is this way we're living the only one that's available to us? My plan is a city that people can dream about.
Megalopolis.
What about those standing in your way?
Power to the people!
Who like it the way it is?
People don't need dreams. People need help now. Don't let the now destroy the forever. We're in need of a great debate about the future.
Enjoy the show.
1, 2, 3. Yippee yay.
Megalopolis is an American parable. Or a fable. He calls it a fable.
Or a Roman parable, perhaps.
Could be a Roman. It could be a new Roman parable. Why not? Megalopolis is the highest budget Neil Breen film anybody's ever seen in theaters. It's Francis Ford Coppola has been talking about it since 1994. He's always wanted to make it. He's been making it, and he's finally made it. Like, ladies and gentlemen, he's there. He got to the finish line. He released it. How good is it? It's not good. This movie. So I saw this on my Schlocktober weekend. I've already watched a bunch of other films. I went and saw Joker as well. That's not part of Schlocktober, but I saw Joker 2, and it was not great. This movie was better than that because it was at least interesting and engaging in a way that I found kind of mesmerizing. I sat in the theater at 11 o'clock at night, watched it with like 5 other people. I'm sure that's the exact same experience during the day, but I don't even know where to fucking begin with this. Megalopolis is the story, and Ryan, I know that we gave you a lot of shit about how long your run-on sentences and paragraphs are.
I am fascinated to hear your plot description of this movie, because I don't know that I could describe the plot of this movie.
Bear with me, folks, as I try to explain what this movie is about. Megalopolis is an American fable about New Rome, which is definitely not New York. It's most definitely not. New Rome is a city that is encumbered by bureaucracy and injustice. And Adam Driver plays Caesar Catalina. He's 2 kinds of salads, folks. And Caesar Catalina is the lead of the design district or department or whatever the fuck it's called. There's some fucking weird organization that just comes through the town and goes, no, not that building. Blow that building up and redesign it.
It seems to be extra governmental, like some sort
like
of weird capitalistic
Yeah.
endeavor that does what it wants. I don't know.
Yeah, they're basically out of jurisdiction of the government. There's his rival is the mayor of the town, something Cicero, I don't care.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito plays it. Giancarlo Esposito. And Adam Driver is just trying to design this beautiful new city. He's basically going to upend the entirety of the current infrastructure of New Rome in favor of Megalopolis, his city that he's designed from some bullshit unobtainium that he's designed.
Yeah, some sort of new ore that he's discovered. Yeah. There's one scene where a journalist is like, but we don't know the side effects of that. And Adam Driver's like, fuck you, I'm building my city.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's basically that. He's the Elon Musk of this town.
He builds an entire city out of, I forgot. What's the fucking fire retardant that gives everybody cancer?
Oh, is it?
Did they have to condemn? Everybody built it.
Asbestos.
Asbestos.
Yeah.
He builds it out of asbestos.
He builds
the entire city out of asbestos.
Asbestos. Yeah.
Or
lead. Asbestos.
The best asbestos.
The best asbestos. So he's trying to build the entire city out of asbestos into Megalopolis. And there's all these different plot lines that intertwine. There's supposed to be political intrigue. really the entire story is it's trying to do too much in what it is. So, like I said, Adam Driver, he's rivals with the mayor of this town, Cicero. He is the head of the design department, Caesar Catalina, that's his name. And he's trying to build this beautiful city. And here it is, Megalopolis. That's what I'm trying to give to you. And he's got like this, usual Adam Driver delivery. Beyond that, it really is watching the shit show that is his family drama. It's a bunch of rich folks fighting over what's best for the city and how they should do it. And they have all these absurd, like non sequitur-esque moments and scenes that are set up. Like there's a big old ball and a Colosseum sort of celebration, Ryan, for the most virginal woman. And she is hoisted up and shown to be the most virginal woman that they possibly could get. And then, oh no, there's video footage of her fucking Adam Driver, but it's doctored. It's doctored, everybody. Sorry, spoilers. But she's still embarrassed because everybody's like, I thought she was the most virginal woman that there could be. I can't believe that she would.
She's a witch. Burn her.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not donating my funds to a non-virgin. And like, there's just those moments. All of this interspliced with Lawrence Fishburne trying to tell us like platitudes about ourselves. And
really bad narration.
Yeah, just overall really bad narration. Character plot lines don't really go anywhere. Caesar Catalina's whole motivation is to build the most beautiful city, but his wife is dead, and maybe he murdered his wife. Nobody knows. People speculate about it, and he needs to get his groove back so that he can resume his time stop powers, which he also has.
I was like, you haven't mentioned time stopping powers yet.
Time stop, and he just does that. He's like an anime character. He just yells it out, and time stops. So that's the entire plot of it. And while he's trying to build this beautiful city, everything is trying to get in his way. And at the end of the movie, everything gets out of his way because people realize, hey, wait a minute, the tech mogul was actually fighting for us all along. Elon Musk is the right person to support, and we should definitely get onto his side. And it all happens in the blink of an eye at the end of the movie when he makes this gold city that looks like, it's like Epcot, but it's made out of leaves, like golden leaves that people can stand on and build cities on. And
instead of being made out of Bud Light, like the actual Epcot.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no Bud Light Night walking around or any of that shit. The plot is insane. The plot is a mess. Nobody told Francis Ford Coppola no. It's very apparent.
He funded it all himself by selling half of his vineyard. Like he had no one to tell him no. He was the producer and
nobody
director
could tell
and everything.
Him no. You have characters, you have Caesar Catalina, you have Julia, the daughter of Cicero. She's Julia Cicero. She ends up dating and loving Caesar Catalina, which means that he becomes Julia's Caesar, everybody. So there's your fucking subtext. And
these
then
names are
it's super text.
Yeah,
not
it's
subtext.
super.
Yeah.
It is super text. You have Aubrey Plaza as Wow Platinum. That's literally her character's name.
Mm-hmm. She's a journalist that's like trying to fuck her way to the top of society. Like a TV journalist, like not a real journalist.
Dustin Hoffman shows up as a shaky man who maybe has a palsy of some kind. I don't know.
John Voight is in this movie. I was like, is this a midnight cowboy reunion? What is going on here?
I just don't. It's mind-boggling how this film. I mean, it's not mind-boggling how it got made because looking at it, you're like, yeah, Coppola sold a lot of the shit that whatever. It's mind-boggling how anybody let it go so far. How nobody helped him refine it. Like, I've heard of this like downward slump for Coppola's films. People talking about like, oh, he did Godfather, he's done Apocalypse Now.
The Conversation,
incredible. Which is fucking incredible. And then you get things like Godfather 2, 3, then you get, and those are kind of stumbles. Okay, here we go. And then you get, anything beyond that, which is like Bram Stoker's Dracula, which has great practical effects, but like direction is not that great. And then beyond that, it's like anything after, you're like, what the fuck are you doing, Coppola?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Do you remember that? Do you remember that Robin Williams movie where he aged
Jack?
backwards?
Oh, Jack? That Coppola did? Oh my God. Yeah, like those things where you're like, what well, what is our end game here? What exactly are we getting at? And now you get this, and it's so oddly like it is. When I said Neil Breen film, I meant Neil Breen film because it's like it's unfettered vision, it's self-funded, and like unquestionably nobody had input on it but him. And now there's a lot of controversy coming out about the set and his behavior on set and all this other shit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, about how he like kissed certain extras or whatever, and people are defending him about how like that's just how he was getting people into the mood about the set or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm not gonna.
I need you to be horny out here like this.
Come on, like let me show you. But like when I ended watching that movie, I walked out. And I knew exactly how I felt about it, which was, well, I've seen 2 Neil Breen films in this year. It's Cade the Tortured Crossing and it's Megalopolis. And I don't know if I'm going to go back and watch Megalopolis anytime soon.
But you're definitely going to go back and watch Cade the Tortured Crossing.
Oh, I already have.
Really?
I'm sure I'll watch
That's
Megalopolis
not the way you
again.
reviewed that.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were done with Bream, and then you went back and rewatched it.
No, I said I'm not going to watch another
He's a fucking
Bream.
addict, Ryan.
Oh, he's not going to watch another one.
Look,
He's
when
gonna
my buddy
rewatch
was
them.
in town and we were on a different substance and he said, I want to watch a Neil Breen film. I want to watch the latest one. I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to say, all right, but I warned you. And then we're going to watch it. I'm going to be mad about it. So I am. But my same friend, texted me about Megalopolis and said, dude, have you seen this shit? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Do you know it took him 30 years to make this? And he just sent back 30 years. That's, And I was like, yes, that's exactly the response I would expect.
Because you watch the movie and you're like, I think it took him probably 30 days to make this. From
It
like
really feels like
initial conception to fully printed.
Yeah. And like no treatments, no advice, nothing. And people say Driver was bad. People say Aubrey Plaza was the only person who knew what they were doing and that knew what she was doing in that movie. I think everybody knew what they were doing in that movie. I give them the
trying
benefit
to get
of the
through
doubt.
it.
They're trying to get through it, and they all want to work with Coppola, and that's perfectly fine. It's not a great movie. I wouldn't recommend it. Dixon, you saw it.
I did.
And what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's part of me that's like, you got to respect the balls on this guy to just sell all of his assets and make this fucking movie and, like, his own uncut, pure psycho vision that he put on screen.
Yeah.
Shot with IMAX cameras and all of that shit. I feel like there are some good critical reviews of this movie, and I feel like that is a reflection of how bad the state of cinema is right now, right?
Yeah.
Where we are willing to forgive things that are so awful just because they are original ideas, because everything is just a fucking regurgitation of a shat out piece of schlocky fucking bullshit IP that just like we just remake things over and over, and they're like, oh, it's an original vision and there was money put behind it and there are big actors in it, and so therefore I feel like I have to like it. And I kind of felt that way watching it, where I was like, I am giving this movie every chance. Like, yeah. I am trying to give it to the benefit of the doubt. There were some bros behind me that were laughing throughout the whole movie, and I was like kind of annoyed. And I was like I want to give this movie a chance, but at the end of the movie I was like, I should have been laughing with those bros behind me. Like I should have been doing that, and I wasn't. I think Coppola, like, I don't know. I am very willing to listen to out of the mainstream critiques of America and why we are the way we are now and what is wrong with the country. Because I feel like a lot of the mainstream narratives are just kind of unwilling to look at the broad scope of America and what is wrong with it and all the problems that have led us to where we are today. And Coppola feels like he's trying to make this grand statement about the fall of Rome and the fall of America and how we are on the downslope of society and what could we do to get ourselves back on track. And I really wanted to get into what he was trying to do. And I really like, I'm probably too forgiving of the movie. I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd, and honestly, that feels like
little
way
high.
too high, but I was
Yeah.
just like, I appreciate the earnestness and the vision, and he's like at least trying to do something, right? Like he took a big swing and it's a big fucking miss, but at least he tried, you know. And like we just don't see a lot of that in cinema anymore. We have some really great independent films that just by the nature of the budget can't take that big of a swing, and so you don't see these massive swings very often. It's like Scorsese and Nolan are the only people who actually know how to make movies that can get that kind of money anymore to make a big massive thing. And everything else is either schlocky bullshit IP, or like occasionally a big franchise movie will work, like Top Gun Maverick or something that's like is actually decent.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you just don't have movies like that connect anymore. And so I'm just like really trying to will this movie into being good, right? I'm sitting there and it's like, just please, just fucking like not suck. And it just doesn't get there.
It just sucks.
It feels like half Neil Breen and with like some Terrence Malick sprinkled in. Like every single shot is at golden hour. And it's like, it feels like he's trying to do a Days of Heaven Terrence Malick type of thing. And like, why is the sun setting? Why is it 6 p.m. in every single shot in this movie? And the sun is like blaring through all of the windows. There's no night, there's no day. It's this odd, otherworldly type of feel. But the CGI is so bad and the dialogue is so bad that it just doesn't work. And like, you're going for something, and I appreciate that, but it just doesn't really turn into anything at all. There are significant chunks of this movie that are just characters doing Shakespeare monologues.
I
like,
forgot to mention
what
that.
the fuck is this? Like, Adam Driver's introduction into the movie is him doing a Hamlet to be or not to be monologue, and like I don't know what the fucking point of this was. For the majority of the movie, I'm thinking all of these characters are shit. There are no good guys in this. It is obvious that Coppola is criticizing all aspects of our modern society, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt through that. But then the end of the movie shoehorns in this bullshit ending of Driver giving this like Obama-esque condescending speech about how we need to like move forward through technology and innovation, and he is like the person who has like saved society through all the bullshit that he's done, through like a neighborhood in the city that he renovated with a super mineral that he invented that we don't know if it kills people, right? And it's just so, and it ends in this glorious big speech where we're like looking up at Adam Driver and his new girlfriend, who's the daughter of the mayor that he's fucking, and we're just supposed to believe that
He's
like,
fucking
am I just supposed to believe that like the tech bros are right and we need to just follow our oligarchs into freedom? Like, this is just so stupid.
That's what the crowd says. They're all at the gates and they're all like, fuck that guy. And then the moment that he's like, this city is yours, they're like, oh fuck, well, the city's ours, we're gonna take it.
Some combination of Zuckerberg and Musk are right, and we need to just follow these people to the next iteration of society. And I don't know, it was just bullshit.
It was fucking, it was just, I didn't care by the end of it. I never cared during it either. And the only thing that I thought was hilarious was the sex scene between Shia LaBeouf and Aubrey Plaza. In which
Shia LaBeouf is so bad.
Dude, he's so unhinged. It's amazing.
Oh my God.
God damn, he's unhinged.
Yeah.
He was just Coppola gave him whatever instructions and he just followed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to his credit, Shia LaBeouf went fucking full into it.
He did, but it does not work at all.
So that's its own thing. He's kind of a Trump-esque figure, more of a, he's a fascist stand-in, populist, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just so stupid. It doesn't matter. It doesn't resonate. There's nothing, as a fable, it sucks. As, like anything else, it's just kind of like, I can't follow it. I don't care. So anyways, Megalopolis sucks. And let's just move on into Dixon, what you watched, which was cool. I heard it was fucking rad. You loved it.
Well, Ryan, do you want to offer
Huh?
any comments before we move
You
on?
have any questions, Ryan?
Yeah.
For the class?
I mean, I guess this one wasn't studio developed. Like studios
No,
didn't
no.
want to touch it at some point. But it does seem like there are these big, like studios either push a big new thing by trying to get a bunch of people in it, and it
Yep.
kind of sucks, or they push, remakes or sequels or whatever. That you kind of get the feeling that they should have pulled the plug
on this.
at some point. They just can never, right? They can never really like.
Well, there was no studio to pull the plug, right? It's just
So
they
could've.
Coppola
Yeah.
selling off more of his vineyard in order to
he
keep
just,
making
he
his
just
Yeah,
wanted
he
to
just-
do it. He just kept doing it. And
drowned himself. Yeah.
the play was because Lionsgate, didn't they do that? Didn't they have their whole kerfuffle like a month before where they released a trailer or something that said like critics said this, and then it turned out that critics never said that.
Oh
shit.
yeah, I forgot
There was
about
that whole
that.
controversy. They were trying to spin it as like people shit on Coppola the whole time, but they were wrong, and like people.
Yeah,
never shit
none
on
of
those
the
things.
quotes were real. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's now we get into the meta of how you release a movie, whether you should market it that way or not, and what the fuck you're trying to do with it. But like, it's very clear that somebody at Lionsgate was like, "How the fuck do you even market this piece of shit?" And like, what do you do?
Yeah, like maybe we'll tell people that all the critics hated it, and that will create enough interest for randos.
It'll
to go see
Morbius it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Ryan's gonna watch it on a plane. We all know.
Yeah.
He didn't.
I don't even
deny
know
it.
that there's something. Yeah, I don't even know that there's something like potentially intriguing.
It's not Spider-Man adjacent, so Ryan's not
never
going to
gonna
watch
be,
it
it's
on a
not
plane.
Venom.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm waiting on that
It's
Venom.
it's Venom : Megalopolis. That's what we need to do.
God, good thing Tom Hardy wasn't in this. It would've been
Oh, dude, if Tom Hardy was in
even
it,
worse.
honestly, it would have been greater. I feel like. Could you imagine him mumbling his way through a Shakespeare?
Shitting his pants in the middle of the movie.
Oh, fucking fantastic. Anyways, well, it sounds like we've kind of cleared up the air here. Ryan's not interested.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, you didn't. I mean, all the things that sound great independently, but none of it sounds good together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
It pretty much sucks ass. So, it's like it sucks ass in a more interesting way than your standard studio Drek. And so if you're like, hey, I'm tired of these movies that suck the way I'm used to them sucking. What if I saw something that sucked differently? Then you could go see this.
Yeah.
But there are good things that are out there that
Better
you could see
things.
that are new movies.
Yeah.
I saw a new movie this week that actually it released in theaters in Austin, and it was in theaters for like a weekend, and then it disappeared. And I really wanted to see it when it came out, and I just like couldn't make the schedule work that weekend and couldn't go see it. And I was like, all right, I'll go see it like later this week or the next weekend, and it was gone. And I was very disappointed, but it is streaming now, and so I was able to watch it at home the other day and, pay $5 or whatever to rent it. It is an Irish film called Kneecap.
Tell me something about you. Something you've never told anyone else.
I'm a rapper. There are 80,000 native Irish speakers in Ireland.
Ní fac, I chéad gan tanga ach lá náisiúm.
3 of us have become rappers.
You may know the words, but you don't understand the language.
Swings of real for horse from Kyo. George go studio again. What? Because wrench beats. Can you like? Well, you hear Abbey Roadie? Abbey what? Argus Shaw Boys and Roland 808. Yaras your arguer be as real like for Kyoto if we like Grimmer when she's blast us bin the Darry Zealand hip hop. Could you on your? Do I look like I want to read subtitles? Ian, dog, tree.
Consider this here's the knock at the door before the knock at the door. Him and his wee pals' music. It's drawn attention from all the wrong places.
Nothing but a H-double-O-D, low-life scum.
We'll end up face down in an alley.
You have a life, a career, a future. Remember, I can take it all away from you like that.
Special delivery. Hey! No more music.
Every day I am not captured is a psychological victory against the occupiers.
Kneecap, so-called Irish language rappers promoting antisocial behaviour and violence.
Stay what's the talk of? Enough time, it's just useless.
I never want to see you again.
I never want to see you again.
Well, look who it is. Bone Thugs and No Harmony.
What those hoots have to say this city doesn't need to be hearing.
He's here asserting his right to speak Irish.
A Belfast band has been criticised for chanting anti-British slogans.
Gach focal Gaelic literature.
She pillar, a skilter or some search in the heron.
Boris Billy or Shillavik.
Why don't you just speak the Queen's English?
Kneecap is an Irish film, kind of in the vein of 8 Mile, like about a rap group that members played themselves, kind of about their origin story. It's set in Belfast. I'm not going to be able to pronounce the names of the rappers, so I'm going to try Mo Chara and Mogley Bap. And then the third member is a DJ named DJ Provi. I'm pretty confident in that one. But essentially, it's set in Belfast, and the two rappers are drug dealers in Belfast who have grown up speaking both English and Gaelic, the Irish native language. One of them, his dad, is played by Michael Fassbender, and he is kind of an Irish freedom fighter who has instilled in his son and his best friend when they were younger that, like, hey, we have to fight against English imperialism, and every word spoken in the Irish language is a bullet fired for Irish freedom. When they are children, Michael Fassbender kind of goes too far in his, kind of effort for Irish freedom, ends up having to go on the run, fakes his own death, and is kind of hiding in the shadows and trying to work behind the scenes to orchestrate some sort of IRA type of effort. Mm-hmm. We cut to when they are young adults. They're dealing drugs. They're trying to survive. They speak a lot of English when they need to. One of them ends up getting arrested after a party, and he will only speak Irish to the police officer, who is just insistent that, like, I know you fucking speak English, you piece of shit. Like, why won't you do it? They have to bring in an Irish language translator to translate what he says. The only person that they're able to find in the middle of the night is a music teacher whose wife is a big part of the effort to reinstitute the Irish language as like a national language in Ireland. And so there's a big political effort to make Irish an official language next to English that you can use and be able to engage in communication with the government and things like that officially in the native Irish language. The government is pushing back against that effort. She is too tired and too drunk to go into the police station in the middle of the night. So her husband, who is a music teacher, goes in instead and tries to translate for this kid for the cops. In the process, he sees the kid's notebook and he has written some sick rhymes in Irish, and he's like, oh, this is pretty interesting. He ends up kind of like arguing for the guy and instead of for the cops, and is able to get him out of prison. And then says, hey, like, dude, I'm a music teacher. I have like a setup in my garage. I make beats. Like, you are a pretty good lyricist. Have you ever thought about making music? And, he's like, all right, cool. And he gets his friend who also has been writing lyrics in this notebook, and they start to rhyme on top of this guy's beats, ends up becoming kind of an underground sensation and growing from there. Kneecap is like, it's this really joyful movie that, it's like these drug dealers who are unapologetic about what they do for a living. They rap in Irish about dealing drugs and being shitheads and being demonized by society, and kind of use that as a weapon to promote the plight of native Irish people that are kind of demonized by the British elite that are ruling Northern Ireland. And it's like a political movie, but it's super fun the whole time. Like, they're writing these new songs, they're going out and performing them at different bars and stuff, and kind of becoming this local sensation that grows in popularity over time. And then, of course, you see the institutional government speaking out against them, like, oh, this Irish language group called Kneecap, they're spreading propaganda about drugs and trying to convince your children to do horrible things, and we have to stop them, and kind of all the beats that you would expect of this type of a movie, but they just do it so well. It's just a really fun ride, and it kind of culminates in the group, kind of achieving some level of success and, being accepted to some degree by Irish society. And there is a post-credit sequence where they talk about how, like, across the globe, once every 40 days, there is a native language that ceases to exist as global colonization continues to occur, and you have English and French and Spanish taking over the world, of languages that are spoken, and you have these cultures that just die off as their language dies, and they have to adopt the culture of the people around them who are running their society and speaking their imperial languages. So it's super fun, but it's also really inspiring and just a cool kind of middle finger to Western imperialist society that I really enjoyed. There's an interesting tie-in where they talk about in one of their shows how hip hop is the language of the oppressed, and how, it was started by the black population in America that used this as a way to fight against the oppression that they were experiencing, and it's being adopted by other cultures across the world as a way for oppressed people to express their anger toward the societies around them that are creating oppression in their environments. So I thought it was a hell of a time. The songs are great. Like, they're a really talented rap group. Also, the storyline of the DJ producer who ends up going from, a mild-mannered teacher to, like, a dude who's exposing his ass that says Brits out on it, like, on television in front of everyone around him, was just, like, really cool to see his development. But yeah, I had a hell of a time with it. It's streaming. I watched it at, like, full volume at home, and just really enjoyed Kneecap.
That's amazing. It sounds way better than that Wu-Tang documentary you watched.
Oh, much better. Much better than the Wu-Tang documentary, unfortunately.
Oof,
but
man.
Yeah.
I've been recommended this already by another friend who saw it while it was in theaters. And this just kind of hammers the rest of the nail into the fucking wood here that I need to go watch Kneecap. So that's my next thing. I'm in the middle of Shocktober, but after I'm done with it, November, I'll be detoxing, and that's when it's going to happen. Guaranteed. So yeah. In terms of, because you mentioned 8 Mile, we've talked, I think, a little bit before about, like, I feel like just in general, because we have talked several times about biopics and sort of musical movies and that kind of stuff. Like, what style, and you already kind of mentioned that there were some tropes that you're like, yeah, you would expect these things to happen. Like, what is the general style of this film? Does it have a narration to it? What's the framing device for it?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a mess from that standpoint, honestly, but I just didn't care because I just thought it was really good otherwise. But it starts out as one of the rappers is the narrator, and he's, like, explaining his story. And he's like, yeah, my buddy, when we were kids, his dad was this weird revolutionist and blah. But then, like, they lose that framing device very quickly and, like, kind of forget about that entirely. I feel like that's a fairly common problem among movies like that, where you start out with a narrator and then all of a sudden halfway through you forget there was a narrator. I was willing to forgive some things like that. I think what I thought was interesting in the film is that you have this really interesting character path for the DJ, and he's much older than the two rappers, but the rappers are not. There's no character development, and there's no apology for anything that they have done throughout the movie. Right? They're doing drugs. They're unemployed. They're doing whatever. It's like they're looked upon as the scourge upon society, and they just adopt that mantra. And they like one of their songs is about how, like, everybody talks about how they're scum, and like, but they're, like, proud of that, and they're kind of adopting that as part of their identity. And people who speak the Irish language are looked upon as subhuman and not part of the official society around them. And so they rap in English and in Gaelic, And there's like some songs that are just in Gaelic and some songs that are just in English and some that are like a kind of a Spanglish type of thing where it's like they're doing some Irish and some English back and forth. And there's an interesting scene where they're about to perform a show and they're talking to I think like a bartender who's working at the bar that they're at, and she says something to them in Irish before they go on, and like, oh, you speak Irish? And she says, well, not really, but like I'm learning because of you guys. And it's like this popular effort to reinstill the Irish language into the local society and to get people to be interested in that again, trying to find their own identity as a culture outside of the fucking British Empire that has been imposed on them. And there's a point of conflict at one point in the movie where, you know, somebody calls their country Northern Ireland, and they're like, no, it's the north of Ireland. It's not Northern Ireland. And so they're trying to push back on the British rule that has overtaken the north part of the country. And they're trying to, you know, kind of reinstill their Irish roots and values into that. And so it's, I don't know, I liked it. Like, that was a really cool story, like a mesh of interesting cultures that I wasn't familiar with. And, you know, a lot of cool stuff and a lot of really great music. So
it sounds great. I want to see it. Obviously, like I said, confirmed. So Ryan, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I like the idea of music as a rebellious force. You know, the rise of punk music in the UK, definitely like rap in the 80s, rap and hip hop, like both of those against like Margaret Thatcher and Reagan politics.
Yeah.
But,
at one point, there's a scene where there is a dartboard with Margaret Thatcher's face on it that they're throwing darts into.
Yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, nice.
Nice. And then like even more recently, like Pussy Riot in Russia.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that happened with them in their trial. And I remember in the like early 2000s, I felt like there was a little bit of that movement kind of as some backlash. Oddly, I feel like we haven't had it. I kind of have been interested in the fact that America kind of, I guess, is commoditized pop music so much to just like ruin expression through music that
like any rebellion becomes
commodified
and sponsored, and immediately you lose like any teeth you
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
Which is why this podcast isn't fucking sponsored by anybody.
We're turning all the sponsors away. There's a lot of
is.
companies that want to give us money.
We have to beat them off left and right. Wait, hold on. Change that phrasing.
How many can you beat off at once, John?
As many as you'll go.
As many as is needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it does seem like the last time that there was this aggressive uprising voice through music in America was the 80s and 90s hip hop, and since then, you know, it's like,
I mean,
there are interesting voices in hip hop still, but like it's not doing what it once was. You know, it's like Jay-Z or Kanye or Kendrick are not like actually speaking in any words that are dangerous to the establishment or trying to like really make the plight of the black man seen in a different way than it was previously through what like you know, Biggie or Tupac or NWA or like
then like Ice Cube started doing Are We There Yet? And that's when you knew it was over. So
and it's like there's really good art that those artists are making, right?
Yeah.
But it's not as anti-establishment and as aggressive as what came before.
It's one of those things where like, you know, and to your point when you're saying that, I'm thinking about like, oh man, like Kendrick has really fucking great albums, and I feel
he
like
does, and he has really great commentary about the black experience
Yeah.
now and as he was growing up. But it doesn't feel like it is like Obama invited Kendrick to the White House, and like he like the establishment is cool with what Kendrick is doing.
Yeah, like
You know,
he's
like-
still Black Panther still funded fully his album. There wasn't a cancellation
Yeah.
of what he was doing or any of that. It was very much like, yeah, you do what you're gonna do.
And I love Kendrick,
Which
and I think
you
he has a
can say.
lot of really cool things to say, but it's just not as dangerous or threatening as NWA. And like the Kneecap music is very angry. Like it has an NWA type of vibe to it. Actually, the artist that I would say that is still current that is doing that type of work is Killer Mike. Like he makes super angry, very political music that does feel like what NWA was doing. But I feel like there just aren't that many artists currently who still do that. But like I've been listening to Kneecap's music on loop for the past 3 or 4 days since I watched the movie, and it's like it's really good. They don't have a lot of music. They have like an album and an LP and a few singles, but it's pretty good, and like it's very aggressive and loud and angry in that kind of protest vein that you would expect from that type of hip hop.
I feel like it's just hard to get that anymore now. Where like, you know, before the internet, when you didn't have as much distribution, it might have been a lot easier for you to channel, like to be a conduit for that kind of anger and that rebellion. And like NWA, I always think about like, what if NWA happened like now? What would that
Well, now
look
Ice
like?
Cube is pro-police. So.
Well, yeah, there's like that whole thing. For some reason, I was like isopropyl alcohol, like isopropyl. Anyways, yeah, like there's just that whole aspect of distribution and how widespread something can get. And I think that it's a lot easier for things to be commodified the moment that they start to become threatening than it was back then when you had like maybe a sleazy producer who was like, I'll make you stars because you attract people, but there's not as much of like a distribution. The distribution game has become a lot easier. Like even we're distributed on all platforms. Hell yeah, we are. And it's just one of those things where like to what degree are you monetized? Can you be monetized? Can you make money? Can you continue to do what you say is your art and convince yourself? I think it's easier to be like soft-toothed in what you're trying to do and to reject it because the algorithm can bury you very easily for being aggressive.
Yeah.
Or you just get drowned out in everything, right? Because you can easily, there could be shit out there just drowned behind all the other quick consumable bullshit that comes out.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where like, if you already have money, then you don't care. And if you don't have money, then you need to care and need to play the game to actually get ahead. So I don't know.
I feel like it's like Alex Jones ruined it for everyone, you know, where it's like you can't be controversial online anymore. Like they'll just shut you down. Yeah. And it's like Kneecap somehow has transcended that to the point where like they're making controversial shit that is still getting out there that people can listen to. And it's like they are like completely unapologetic about just hating England. Nice. And like there's like they have a song called Brits Out that's about like just like fuck all the British people, get them out of our country. Like it's like very very anti-imperialist. So like if they weren't the same color you would call it racist, right? But it's like it's anti-colonialist. It's like fighting back against the powers that are oppressing them. And it's you know, it's just something that like you don't see that type of rhetoric being allowed online in our society anymore. And I'm glad that Kneecap like has been successful as a rap group and was able to make this movie that got out to some people. Like again, it was only out for a week in Austin, which I was very disappointed that I couldn't go. I was fucking pumped for it, and I just like had too much going on in my life at the time and couldn't make it to the theater, and then wasn't able to see it in, you know, the ideal environment. But I'm glad I was able to get to see it eventually, and I hope more people find it online and you know, watch the movie, listen to their music, and you know, I hope they continue to be successful in what they're doing. You know, they kind of came on the scene pre-COVID and still at this point only have like one LP and one album. You know, they have like 20 songs online. So I hope they're able to continue doing what they're doing and getting their message out there, and you know, inspiring more people in Ireland to take up the Irish language and invest in their own native culture and those types of things. So
nice. I definitely want to see it. So hey, and it led to a good discussion for us today. So I'm excited to watch Kneecap. I'm gonna probably show it to Sasha without any context and see what she says, because it just sounds like one of those that could pull you in no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is a movie that really grabs you. And I watched it pretty late at night, and I was just fucking all in the whole time. Like, didn't get tired,
Nice.
never had any problems. Sitting on my comfortable couch, I was just like fucking like, yes, please give me more of this. Like, let's keep going. So it's definitely something that is very entertaining and really grabs your attention.
Nice.
Definitely want to check out the music too. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah, and you don't even like hip hop, Ryan.
No, but at least I can just be like, somebody should listen to that instead of you too.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Fuck you too. But yeah, no, you should. Yeah. I mean, and it's fun because like, there's like you can understand roughly half of it, and half of it you can't.
Great.
But you still get the what they're
rhythm
trying
and-
to say. Like
Yeah.
some of it is like, oh, there's mostly English in this song. I pretty much know what they're talking about, and others is like, there's very little English in this song, but you get the message and the vibe that they're trying to put out there. So
Nice.
cool. All right. Well, that is from Ryan, I believe 4 recommends and 11 refutes.
You can honestly
It's
skip
a
them all and live your
rule-breaking
life.
historical precedent.
It's a
folks.
wash.
For the Puppet Master franchise, or if you just want to round down, a refute for the Puppet Master franchise.
Yeah. True.
John is giving a refute for Megalopolis. I am seconding that refute.
Yep.
But, if you're debating between whether to watch that or like Deadpool and Wolverine, like fucking watch Megalopolis.
Right. Take that.
It's not good, but at least it's not whatever franchise bullshit you've seen 38 times.
Yeah.
And then I am giving a full-hearted recommend for Kneecap. I think everybody should check it out. I think like the United Kingdom cultures that are oppressed, right? Like Scotland and Ireland are like super interesting, where it's like, you think of them as just part of this massive imperial thing that the UK is, but they're not, right? Like they're their own countries that had their own native people that were fucked over by the English, just like all the rest of us were. And, I think it's interesting to like dive into those cultures. I've not been to Ireland. I've been to Scotland, and I like best vacation I've ever been on. And I would love to go to Ireland at some point too. My brother-in-law is Irish.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
United Kingdom isn't as united as you would think it is.
Yeah, there are people in the United Kingdom who are not super thrilled about it.
Wow.
Just like the United States.
What are you talking about? Puerto Rico is happy to be part of us.
Part is a strong word. But anyway, I have been your host, Michael Dixon. With me, as always,
Ryan King. I'm so done. I'm glad to have pulled the poison out of my system. Now I can watch something decent.
You're not going to master any puppets anymore.
Not since the great Rankin-Bass crisis of 2023.
This is like less killing than Air Bud or Rankin-Bass, but that's not saying a lot.
Wow.
The killing of a sacred soul, some might say.
And
John Garcia, I'm still not done with Schlocktober. Pray for me.
I'm not going to do that.
Because you don't believe in a god?
Because I don't give a shit about you.
Well, that's the same thing.
Are you saying that you're God?
Sure. We're all God, Dixon. Schlocktober has made me realize from shit we come and from shit we shall return.
Okay.
And to thee, I say, thanks for putting up with my bullshit. Hey there, movie buffs, TV toughs, and all listeners in between. John here from the Afterthoughts podcast. I just wanted to drop in at the end of this episode and say thanks for listening. If you've got afterthoughts of your own to share, hit us up. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Afterpod, or jump into a conversation on our Discord server. You can find info for this and more at theafterpod.transistor.fm. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.